Hello and welcome. So that was a little weird. I just had to wait about 5 seconds for the camera to begin. So hopefully we won't have any extreme lag. Sometimes the camera and recording just needs to catch up. I appreciate you all very much for showing up here today. This is going to be an extension from today's Daily Dharma number 1. And basically everything was kind of talking about the importance of transmuting any lower, whether it's karma or projection energy or mental, emotional sense of struggling or pain or suffering, any of those experiential issues that create or get us stuck in some type of lower energy, whether that's fear, grief, anxiety, depression, or bitterness, violence, aggression, any of these things here that are overdone. Anything has its time and place, but when our energy gets really mired into that heaviness, that destructive tendency, we are being told that it's our choice to uplift the spirit, and that not only do we need to know how to do that, but we have to choose to do it. And so I would suggest that we're already getting those messages ourselves, and so we've already been trying to do this, but that it's kind of like, trying to run in deep water. The legs don't quite go very fast. It's like super slow motion. There's a lot of lag, like at the beginning of the camera, it was just like, really slow progression. And so at the very end here, we came up with these oracle cards that were basically talking about making sure that we understand that we need to manage our expectations as far as like when something is completely. One moment here, just canceling a call. I should have put on my do not disturb there. So we are being called to understand that the universe sometimes at different legs of the journeys and different chapters, that we cannot and should not know all of the factors, all of the details, or the outcome specifically. Even if we're psychic or intuitive, we may be what seems like led down the wrong path. Let's say like you've dated a lot of one type of person, and you're like, why are all these people the same? It's not that all those people are the same. It's that you have maintained some type of seed of sameness within, and so overcoming all of these things, and that the universe knows divinely precisely how to best help us to figure out how to extricate ourselves from those lower vibrational situations, patterns, karmas, some of which don't even belong to us, others which we were talking about how empaths are so significantly sensitive to the fluxes of the energies and intensities of all the people around them, and how we need to also sort through all of that and not take on other people's garbage, whether that's through overgiving or lowering the bar or whatever. Fill in the blank. You know your situation better than I do. And so what I wanted to show you was this last card. We didn't have time to read it out, but I was seeing this as somebody who has a lot of faith in new beginnings and keeps trying again and keeps repurifying and coming through with that belief in some type of romance. And that doesn't need to be intimate romances, as this is a general reading for each of us. It may be a little different, but it's like staying inspired and in our inner child, in our belief in this, in the sensitivities and such like that. So then I actually did read the card, and it also, by the way, it does have blessings of the Moon Maiden, and we got remembrance, magic, fertility, and miracle under the deck. And then I realized underneath miracle, after I got off camera, also has divine feminine and belief, which we talked about a lot in the first one, and root chakra. So it's grounding in our firm beliefs in a good world, not the lower world that we might see, but looking at what we need to work through in our own sense of self. And one of those things is trusting that the magic is there, and trust that if we keep continuing to seed the love and the light and the beauty and the connection between perhaps differing portions or segments of populations or something such as that in your life, or two different people, like in the first one I was talking a lot about myself and my teenage daughter. So it happens on the internal, it happens in our families, in our workplaces, and in our social groups, and in our countries, and so on. And so it's this one. I just want to read a little bit for you, and this will summarize the entire first message. So the shamanic called, well, not the whole one. The shamanic call to the soul can be masked within a crisis. We talked about the presenting problem in the first one, as a problem to be solved and as a creative opportunity all at once. Be in the midst of the muddle with faith that although you may not yet see how, there is some greater benefit or miracle, perhaps even for some, that will eventually manifest and ensure your soul's true progress towards its divine destiny. Let go of trying to figure it all out and instead tune into what feels true for the current choice point before you. One step at a time is all that is needed. So it's that step by step thing. It's like trusting in the miracles, in the blessings, and in the support, and in the necessity to do something to alleviate some type of karma, whether we're aware of that karma or not. There's an instinctual, energetic, and emotional responsiveness that is our sacred clue that we are supposed to follow that breadcrumb, whether it's inspiration or curiosity or some other type of research or some type of self-development or communications with others. We're all being awakened to something here, but we're told to just follow the signs, the synchronicities, or the impulses. I mean, with good judgment, of course, discernment, to then lead yourself down the path, even if you're like, well, I've got to go north, but for whatever reason, I really am compelled to go around the block this way. And then some type of surprise or chance encounter or intervention is unlocked by following that intuition. And it can be the same way with our life, whatever we're thinking of, or if we're looking at X's. I can't remember if I said that in this reading or the number one, but even if we look at the relationships that were necessary in our lives, like a toxic boss instead of having a toxic partner, it doesn't matter how that energy plays through at some level. What we're doing is looking in the mirror at how others manage their energy, and then we are offered the choice point of how to self-manage and self-regulate our own. Do we allow others to speak down to us, to marginalize, or to disempower? Or do we redirect ourselves and move in a different direction? We have that free will. So here it talks about the medicine wheel, and the direction of the southeast here called out is the point of evolution, which is what we're talking about here. Growth out of the old karma, right? And recognizing patterns and beliefs that may be sabotaging the soul. We also talked about this self-limiting belief, glass ceiling type stuff here, that this can seem to disempower you as a human being. And then we have to figure out from there how to heal, create, and evolve into a more constructive way of being. So this is a crossroads of consciousness, and although it may not always feel this way, it's also a vote of confidence from the universe that you're healing into a way of being, living, and creating that is more worthy of you as a sovereign spiritual being. So it talks about her origins as a very ancient soul, and that she is also the gateway to all things, from access to other divine being and to beginning and ending chapters also on your life's journey. Um, yeah, very much talking about diversity and that type of energy there. So let's go ahead and get some other cards. Let's see from the Akashic Tarot. What are some of the energies that we are being asked to transmute from this lower energy? Yes. The Buddha prepares. So part of the Buddhist teachings coming into this are simplicity, non-attachment. And through non-attachment, I mean, don't go and throw out everything that's useful in your life and then find yourself needing to replace those things down the road. I mean, it might seem quaint in the moment, but using good discernment about which things to move away from and which things not to, and in personal relationships as well. Like there's this message from the other day. I didn't shuffle this deck. I was going to because I knew this message was looking at me. It does say friendship makes you rich beyond measure. What's a friend? A friend is a special somebody in your life that knows you warts and all. A friend knows that you're not perfect and that you don't agree on everything all the time, but you still love each other. You can look up the word friendship in the dictionary, but the meaning is really only known in our hearts. And so it's talking about how we can prepare. And again, with that number 13 is the number of integration for me. And it's and we have the 31 I'm just noticing there. So it's we're being prepared, we're being cleansed and cleared. And so some type of crisis or presenting problem is challenging us so that we can understand more clearly what needs to go through the portal with us and what things are not part of the next level of our journey. You know, the difference between the underworld things that we're shedding with this old skin, maybe even an old wardrobe or whatever, getting down to something quite simple and getting down to the reasons why we're connected to things, such as, like, I could argue all day with my teenager if I wanted to make that choice, but that kind of vibe just is not okay for me. It makes me so crazy and unsettled. And so for me, peace is important in my home. And I would suggest that probably everybody tuning in to some level, it's like, we don't want somebody always on our case. We don't want to always be nagging others. And so it's like, what do we want? We want fun, enjoyment, community, collaboration, and also some personal space. So all of these things are coming in. So some of the Buddhist teachings may be important for you. Six of Forces under the deck talks about a huge emotional release that is either necessary or has just recently come to pass. And with these, we did have holidays coming just over the previous few days here in the States. And then we're moving into more holidays for many different cultures across the world going into the December timeframe while we're recording here. And so there may be many traditions and preparations going into things and wanting to be on the same page and wanting to co-create space together. And we may be on different pages with other individuals, but maybe there's ways that we can come together on things that do represent common goals or common enjoyment and so on. But there's a real cleansing, but it is whatever this fear or upheaval going on is really ultimately, as they said, it's some type of blessing in disguise, which, I want to tell you that through things such as even death of a loved one, uh, that is not the blessing. However, we can look towards the evolution of the soul, the accomplishment of one's life work, even if that person appears to us on the earthly realm as having been, let's say, marginalized, overlooked, or apathetic, or even a curmudgeon. let's say somebody who is quite awful during their life, and then we think, oh, well, how sad to have wasted all that time. But we can look at those things more from a neutral standpoint that said that was what their soul needed to choose to learn something. And while they were learning, they were also a divine, although very darkly shrouded teacher of how others need to manage our own responses and how to keep things sacred uh, and all of those things, right? So there's much more to it. So whatever is coming through, uh, we need to see that everything has the positives and negatives. Even the most positive thing isn't positive in its entirety, and the most negative thing is not negative in its entirety. And this is bringing me back towards my recent and many others, in especially the US and other places where things are intense, my personal beliefs about what I'm seeing on the world stage and the extreme doubling down, tripling down, and etc. from spirit that's like, you have to just sit with this, you have to keep on moving, you have to stay strong in your convictions and in your values and in your hope and belief in miracles. It's like there's no end to the people that are out there just doom and gloom and, oh, well, this is a lost cause and we need to dash our expectations with this. It's like, all right, that's great, but what can we do? I get real worn out from all the people. One network that's real prominent that I was following quite extensively, and now they're just like, oh, they're just as much as they think that they're being proactive, when I tune into that energy, it feels very, very low vibrational to me. And so even if somebody appears to be, quote, on our side, it's up to us to feel that in our body. It's like we can go about the right message in the wrong way. We can go about the wrong message in the right way. And so it's part of the Tao here of non-attachment. And I'm hearing something about the 4 agreements too, like not taking things so personally, making sure to use our word with integrity, no matter what others might do, think, or say. So crossing that energy again, paths unknown, number 8 of scrolls now. So I think that we're being told that any type of situation from our past, that past, present, future, expectations, belief patterns, and so on, or other individuals' opinions appearing as fact in our lives, we can really sort through those in a different way, and we can utilize that energy to then choose the next leg of the journey. And so I think that we're being prepared to take those swords kind of out of our heart, out of our back, like if we felt betrayed or if we felt heartbroken in some type of a way. It's up to us to remove the thorn, remove the splinter from our own eye before we start talking about how other people need to do this, right? Um, so we're being led down some type of pathway that doesn't quite make sense. Why should I go this way? There's not immediate gratification. There's not evidence that direction, that something that I want will present there. But for whatever reason, I feel like going that way, then utilize your best judgment. Speak with your guidance systems, because only you know the correct way forward. You need to get in alignment with your own essence and your own psychic intuitive essence. You are on track. It looks like you may be needing to get out and go somewhere, maybe an appointment, a presentation, or to, whether you're taking a vacation or retreat or going on a commute to your job. There's something here about, also there could be some fated meetings along your pathway here. The One of Scrolls is the Ace of Swords, And so the 8 plus the 1 is the 9 of swords. So making sure that we don't stay in our anxiety or overthink things, to really give our gut instincts more authority over things coming in the coming phase. And then King of Forces, it looks like you are looking to create some type of forward momentum, or to gain some type of following or attention. Even with King of Forces, he's a force to be reckoned with. And so he comes into perhaps even just to believe in yourself, but in some way to take the lead of something. Yeah, there's something here. And this may be you manifesting somebody who is also in this energy. Let's get some more info. So then we have a timing card with the Four of Forces saying spring and autumn. Four of Forces is the Four of Wands card. Yeah, very well could be talking about partnership energy. We do have divine masculine and feminine out here. And it looks like you may have thought something was going to go the distance and then it didn't. Yeah, here in the near future, we've got the Queen of Roses getting back into your energy of this emotional release and emotional outpouring. Somebody that can speak your love language, perhaps. Excuse me. So let's get a few more cards before we run out of time. We've got number 2, the Akashic Library. I think that you're really taking the time to look into what it is that you want, what you need, where you've been, where you're going, not as far as to overthink, but to just kind of lay out something. Writing is its own sacred artistry. And it looks like it's a way that you're able to channel something through. Oh, look at this. 2 of Roses now. So that's the 2 of Cups energy here. You may be setting up a date, an appointment of some type, and it could just be with your friends or colleagues or something like that. Could be a job interview, could be, tea time with a little toddler or something. I'm not sure what it will be for you, but it's making time for ourselves and our needs and our loved ones. It's making sure that we have that connection with others here. Oh, and now we have a King of Scrolls. So we've got 2 kings and a queen here. The King of Scrolls wants to look forward and make a plan. It's like this paths unknown, and then coming forward with now all those swords are able to be leveraged in a plan moving forward, or those experiences are then put into a resume, or all of these crafting skills or people skills you have can suddenly come in and be integrated into some type of platform or a craft, or not a craft, what am I trying to say? A product that you could sell or something type along those lines. But it seems less tangible than that on the surface, especially being swords. It seems like you are a thought leader in this way and that you have good advice. So some of you may be some type of TED Talk type person, or a mentor, or somebody who's a counselor, or what did I say, life coach? So in the outcome position, we've got Uriel and the Sphinx, number 21, trying to figure out what it's all about. Too soon is just extraneous detail. I think that part of the mystery unveiling itself to you is to just be able to witness yourself as just somebody in this divine dance. And I feel like we're supposed to take ourselves a little less seriously, which is something that comes through sometimes. Here we have Archangel Raphael, number 8. So we've got a lot of major arcana coming through here. Archangel Raphael is overseeing the emotional up-leveling and this extreme outpouring. Know that you're not alone. If you're feeling emotional, it may be necessary to really pour this out. But I always say, whether it's anger or sadness or joy that you are able to pour out into the universe. While we're doing this, ask your angels, your higher self, or whatever you believe to help you to transmute that energy into higher awareness, understanding, and to the ability to alchemize all that you are into all that you will yourself to become, if that makes any sense. So if I'm angry, I ask that individuals that have been unjustly treated, that they understand how to correct their bondage to their cycles, and me as well. Connected to sadness, I ask that all beings understand that they are connected, that they are loved, that they are supported, that they are connected on the molecular level to everything that is. Something like that. Whatever works for you in this way. Some type of prayerful. Interestingly, 3 of keys comes up last with the chess game. So there is definitely something going on that doesn't quite make sense. It seems like there's a lot of strategy, tactics, and the political climate keeps coming up in this way. It looks like, yeah, recognition under the deck. You may be recognizing something and feeling compelled to bring it forward. You may be calling out somebody else for their tactics, whether that's in the workplace or in a relationship, or like me with my teenager. It could be any type of a level, but sometimes other individuals, most of the time, most individuals don't understand how to see through their own ego. All of us, right? To some extent, that's what the ego is here to do, is to protect us from anything that would blow our minds too extremely or cause us to break down or believe that there was something wrong with us. And so we figure this out bit by bit, step by step. So the first card out, this is so perfect, is right. So writing is very important, especially with this Akashic library here and all of these scrolls energies here. It looks like there's a lot of water and a lot of air. So it's emotion and logic. It's masculine and feminine. And so the feminine's emotions, the best thing to do for you is to ground into your earth. And for the masculine's over analyzing and anxiety or belief, faltering beliefs and lack of hope, the best thing for you to do is to get into your fire and to burn away indifference, to burn away any lower emotional energies through the transmutational violet flame with Saint Germain, perhaps, to get back into your energy of just starting to take a step. It doesn't have to be the right step. To just take one step forward is still creating momentum, because overabundance of air is misdirected and it's a cyclone or a tornado, and it needs centering. Just like the emotion, it needs centering, it needs containment so that it can have like sanctuary. The ideal, or the metaphor that came up earlier, was like how we squish wilderness and forests into tiny little areas while we let urban sprawl take over all of our sacred space in our mother earth. Our glorious temples are being replaced by churches. That's the way it comes through and feels to me right now, is some type of misunderstanding about the appropriate use of our energy. And so if we're too tied up in the energy of thought, it makes us feel like we cannot take action. And so sometimes the best way to silence our thoughts is with action. And for me, one of the things that works really well in that regard for me is martial arts. It blends breath, body, and it transforms inner energy into a kinetic expression. That magnetism becomes electric, and as we punch or kick or or move the body, all of those energetic things caught up and stagnant in our body begin to flow through. Even gardening is much the same and much more subtle and body safe for some of you. You know, it's something that engages us, the passions, creation. That also, if you cannot get yourself to move, if you're real tired, creating in some type of way, such as writing or artistry or something such as that, really helps us to move our energy around. And that is alchemic or alchemical mastery in some type of a way. We're getting assistance under the deck at the end of the reading here. Let's see if there's anything else. We're being assisted. So if we are able to write or to somehow get into this ability to channel, then have faith that we're going to be shown the way. Faith comes out. I often see Harry Potter's golden snitch, being able to catch the golden ticket. Now we have rejuvenation under the deck here. So have faith in your transformation. I think that we need to settle our energies in some type of way, go through some type of self-care, and release what doesn't serve the way forward. Because I think that with all this talk about getting into our miracles, we're aligning with a higher vibrational resonance, and that's going to demand that we face up and move through the ego portal into our divinity in a much bigger way. So under the deck now, we have divinity and right order. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. So divinity, just like I just said, and then right order, as in the correct order. I love it when the writing and the right order come through. Writing things out, putting a plan, doing something, even if it's just expressing on social media, put through the lens of kindness, necessity, and truthfulness, can really help us to really gain that outlet for our self-expression. Don't be afraid to make friends that you have no idea who they are and may never meet. Take flight. Your energy wants to be liberated from something that's been holding you back, and have faith that whatever it is that you're trying to personally self-express, that it's an emanation of your vibrational love force energy here. And there's some type of personal success that's coming through this too, whether it is in the job place, in the social front, or in personal one-to-one or family relationships, or your internal ascension process in general. This is much bigger than ourselves, but where we start is within the seeds that we're every day planting in our own lives and nurturing in our own lives. So on all of that heaviness, I hope that you guys got a message that was meaningful for you. We've still got the friend and foe message on the bottom here. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Do something new, something different. It's about to come through for you. Change is always good. So we're moving through something, and they chose you. I think that Spirit chose us for something quite profound, and it's time to move